Living in a daydream. Ooh, such a sweet thing. Life on the big screen. It's such a beautiful scene, yeah.
So why'd you quit weddings?
Actually interesting.
Yeah, you filmed one on.
Looked gorgeous.
No, yeah,
It was crazy.
Couldn't help but notice you weren't wearing Vans.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've talked about you many times on this podcast.
Yeah.
So this is Dallin.
This is Dallin, you guys.
Hello.
He's the
Hottest friend we have.
yeah, he is.
For our audio listeners, just imagine this beautiful quarter Asian, tall,
6'2".
muscly.
What are you, 6'2" these days?
6 foot.
What everyone
6
wanted
foot?
Jacob to look like in the Twilight
you
Saga.
You feel
Dallin.
taller than that.
Looks
Yeah,
like.
just
It's your
6 foot.
presence. How much you benching?
225.
Damn. Wow, what a monster.
Oh, two
It's a
plate
man's
baby.
man right there. Yeah,
I'm scared to do more.
The shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Left shoulder.
Yeah.
Dallin met me first by begging to be in my social circle years ago.
That's actually not true.
That
close.
actually is not true.
That's not even close.
Pretty
to
close.
True.
Pretty close.
I met Nate
I
first.
think he met
Oh, wait.
everybody.
Did you meet
No,
Nate
no, no,
first?
no. I met Sam first.
He met Sam.
You wanted to meet me first.
I did want to meet Jake
I
first.
met you with Sam.
No.
No, not with Sam, but I met you before that one time we went to the movie theater.
You did meet me. So you were second.
Yeah, I was second.
So Sam, I got into video. Courtney was in town.
Oh, they
stayed
know
at our
Courtney.
apartment. And she was like, "Oh, I want to do a shoot. I have some friends that I think will model for me."
Yeah.
And it was Sam
It was.
Sam
I
model
know
for you?
I know showed.
and his ex.
Was that the one with the curly hair, Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
The
That
perm
was Sam
Sam?
with the top.
Top
He was
hat.
wearing a hat.
With the
Yeah.
perm.
he didn't have a perm yet.
No.
He had short hair.
Oh, I know that one.
But
Kind
I
yeah,
know
so
that shoot.
met him, and he just became my mentor. So he was like, "Oh, this is what you should do. This is," and so anything that he said, and then yeah, he was
She was
friends with.
regurgitating what I was telling him to do at the time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh yeah, I was hanging out with Jake," and I was like, "You're friends with Jacob Weisler?"
That was a big deal back then.
No way. And then I second shot a wedding with you.
Me?
Yeah.
You're pointing at me. Me.
Yeah,
Per Sam's
with Nate.
recommendation.
No, I think you just reached out
Oh
This is
yeah, you
this is
did. Oh, the one in it was Sandy. It was
at the Highland Gardens.
yeah.
You were like
Great venue.
looking for a videographer, second shoot, and so yeah, I came, and then from there it was I think a month or two after. Then the
Yeah.
movies hit.
That's when you dropped everything to go to the movie.
Dropped everything.
Yeah.
Was on a date. I was like, I gotta go.
Got to go to the
Yeah.
movie.
That date was consequential in two directions. It was a foreshadowing of a negative, turned into positive, and then a foreshadowing of also our friendship. So
Yeah.
it was a big decision for you to leave that
Beautiful
date.
start. Yeah.
Great start.
It was a great start of
Yeah,
friendship.
went and saw Joker, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
No. It was.
Was it not Joker?
Are you sure? I feel like
It
was Joker.
was.
I thought it was Joker.
It's the mine Tenet.
Was it Tenet?
It
It was
Tenet.
Tenet.
Wow. Wait a second. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was Tenet. Trust me.
Jake wrote in his diary.
What year did Tenet come out?
2020. Was it 2020?
2020.
2020.
It was a COVID
Wow.
movie.
And then I liked you a lot. You vibed well with the boys.
And then
So I started asking to be a part of projects.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I came and helped a lot with FTF.
Yeah, because guys, we were just doing so much content that year. 2020 was booming, and I just always needed hands. And in that business, at least at that point of FTF, just peak reputation. I feel like just the hype surrounding the company was just awesome. And so everyone and their dog wanted to be in a video, and so you gotta be really selective about who you allowed because you didn't want some drooly fanboy to walk in and just
Which that happened a couple times.
yeah.
Yeah.
You were there.
I was there.
And so it was important for us to bring people on who we thought would actually be viable, but also actually help on set and lift their weight type of
Yeah.
thing.
Not just be
You were one of those
fanboy.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, helped out a lot. You helped my very first short film.
Yeah.
None of my other friends helped with that short film. My best friends didn't help
I was
with
out
that
of
short
town. I was out of town.
He was out of town. But Dallin, you were wore so many hats. I guess Sam was an extra in that one scene. But
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of just dropped everything. I was like, if there's a way for me, because I kind of was thinking of it, of like, I knew it wasn't for sure, but I was like, if I could get a job with FTF, like that would be so sweet. And like, what a better way to just prove myself.
Just the opportunity arose.
Yeah.
And I pushed the opportunity.
Yeah.
I pushed for it.
Didn't happen.
It's okay. All for the better, to be honest. But yeah,
sure.
Dallin, give us, I mean, they've heard about you from us.
Just the name, really. Dallin.
My
Yeah.
feet.
We
a
did
lot about
talk
your
about your
feet.
feet.
Yeah,
a
no, I
lot.
remember that
A
episode.
lot about your feet, your dress.
Why don't you show people the feet?
Let's not.
Please don't. I can't. Give,
Show the dogs.
Give just community.
Who are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, who are
tell
you?
Tell you who.
Tell us about
who
your
you are.
journey in a
So-
word.
My name's Dallin Aldous. Many people pronounce my last name incorrectly. Aldous.
What do they usually say?
I don't know.
I say
Aldous.
Aldous.
I said Aldous for a while.
Aldous.
Aldous. That's
Aldaus.
That's Aldous.
Aldous.
Yeah, Aldous.
Dallin Aldous.
It's like
Aldous
Aldous.
Films.
Aldous.
Aldous, but with a D.
Aldous Films.
Yep. Yeah, so are you wanting like my...
What got you into
Video.
videography?
So I was at BYU. Absolutely no idea what I wanted to study. I was just like, I'm just going to go through school. And then I just like was not happy. Everybody was always like, you can just like figure out what you want to do. Like you're early in your college years, like you'll figure it out. And I just like nothing was standing out to me.
Which I hate that saying because it's true, but like in Utah, you kind of have to know what you're doing pretty soon. I
Yeah.
feel
You
like.
do.
Yeah.
It's
You
a whole
do.
different culture
Well, a
here.
lot
Yeah.
of people, like know what they want to do at 10
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
you
they
gotta
just
be
like go after
A
it. And I was
millionaire
just
by
like,
2025.
yeah. And it was just scary. Like all growing up, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like I don't know anything. So I think I came across like an ad for FTF. I knew Courtney had worked with you. And so I was like reaching out to her and I was like, I kind of am thinking about doing video. And she was like, I feel like you have a personality that would do really well in video. And so I was like, okay. So I was just like talking to her more and more.
Which we know selfishly, she just wanted someone to work with in
Yeah.
Idaho.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
know.
She needed
that's-
someone in Idaho.
Yeah.
Which you do, though.
And it was nice. Like Courtney and I have been friends since we were like 10. And so it was like nice having somebody who was very established in the industry, giving me tips and like knowing a lot of people. And I felt like I got a really good head start, like obviously foreshadowing, but like had a really good head start with video because of my connection with her.
Yeah.
Same.
And so, yeah, I like started watching just the YouTube videos and I was like, I think I'm just going to like buy a camera, a lens and a stabilizer and kind of just like dive head first. And I don't know if you remember this either, but I remember because I was like broke, poor in college, like
College kid.
yeah. And I was like, I can't remember. I think I was talking to Sam and I was like, dude, I really want to get full-time filmmaker. I just like can't afford it. He's like, let me see what I can do. And he texted you, I imagine.
I got a
And
guy.
it came back to me and it was like, hey, whatever you can afford, like, let us know. And so I literally like went through my finances. I was like trying to be the most honest Abe Dallin I could be. And I was just like, hey, like I can afford $400. Like truly, like I'm not trying to rip you off, but like that's like my max. I can't do more. And so literally like I got a discount code. Anyways, I don't know if
That's testament to Parker. Parker, like
Yeah.
always, he just didn't care about the money. He
Yeah.
wanted to add value to people, and he's like, I do well enough selling it for the price it is. If someone's out there who can't afford it, I'm always gonna make an exception.
yeah. And it was huge for
So
me.
he
'cause,
taught
like,
me that.
Yeah. Like it was like everything that I needed because I was also going into it. I'm like, if I want to do this, like I don't want to half-ass it. Like I want to dive head first and do it. And so I started like taking the course and just like fell in love. I was like, this is so cool. A lot of people in the industry, I feel like grow up having a video passion, like filming stuff, watching movies. I just have none. Like you guys are all movie buffs. Like the amount that you can quote, I just like don't have that.
The Grinch, Dumb and Dumber, everything else.
But I just didn't grow up with that. And so it was kind of fun getting to know this hobby and then being like, this is actually really interesting. Like I can actually see somewhat of a future in this. So I remember taking a semester off and that's like the whole mentality that I had. I was like, I'm going to take one semester off. And if it doesn't go well, then like I can always just go back to school.
Well, at BYU, weren't you filming courtside? Like,
yeah. So that's
football
what's also
games.
funny is because I would never put the two together of like, oh, I had this passion for film. So I was filming for BYU football, But we would we were in these lifts,
Which
and
is actually a pretty dope.
It was dope.
Yeah, that's
it was
pretty
sick,
cool.
But it was not like it was all their technical film.
Gotcha.
So we were like, I don't even know what the camera was. All I know is like we would hit record. We would have to like set white balance by putting like a paper in front, and you hit like white balance, and it would do it. And then you would just
Auto
like
white balance,
yeah,
guys.
and then you would just like zoom in and out, and that was it. So like,
Was those cameras the wheels that you zoomed?
no,
Oh, okay.
it was like a zoom in and out with like your fingers.
Oh, okay.
And so like, so we would do all their practices and all their games, but that was it. Like, and so I wouldn't attribute that to like my film career at all, because it was just like I showed
It
up.
wasn't creative.
It paid for
Yeah.
my tuition, and I didn't get paid for the job, and so
yeah,
that
yeah.
was my two older brothers did it, so that's why I did it.
Gotcha. All right, before we dive back in, we need to tell you about something really exciting that's happening this month at Honeybook. They just kicked off their January Jumpstart giveaway, and that means that this is your chance to win a $10,000 prize package to take your business to the next level. This month, each new member that joins Honeybook has the chance to win, which includes $5,000 to invest back into your business however you want, a $4,000 system setup with a Honeybook Pro to streamline your workflows, and a year of Honeybook Premium for free, and that is worth $1,308. 10 winners will be selected in February, but even if you don't win, having a free trial will give you access to tools that make managing your business so much easier. Think about contracts, proposals, invoices, and much more. We've been avid users of Honeybook for nearly 10 years now, and it's one of the most important softwares that we use to run our business efficiently. So start your year with the chance to win. The January Jumpstart giveaway runs through January 31st, 2025, so you don't want to wait on this. This could be the perfect way to hit the ground running in 2025. So to start your free trial, follow the link that's going to be in the description of this episode, or check the link in our Instagram bio at Runaway Vows Education. Thank you, Honeybook, for sponsoring the kitchen this month of January. And now we're going to head back to the episode.
So yeah, I started like doing FTF before I decided to take the semester off. I think like I did the shoot with Sam. I started doing like just free stuff, and I booked I think 1 or 2 weddings. And I was like, this is crazy. Like I think I made like $10,000 in 2019.
Wow.
Like the
Total.
entire year.
Yeah.
So when I booked a wedding for $800, I was like, oh my, like I can make it. Like
Yeah.
I can do this as a job. And
For
like,
one weekend.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is so sweet. And so that's when I decided, I was like, I'll take the semester off. And I really used FTF as like my college course. Like I remember like having breakfast, going into my office, shutting the door, and like had a notebook.
Same.
And like I would like write down
Such a
everything.
nerd.
Yeah, if I didn't understand something, I would go back. And this was also the first
Okay,
time.
low ISO equals good.
Yeah. This is also the first time where I like was enjoying learning. Like I'm not a school person. I don't like it. I don't
Parker
know.
taught it so well.
He taught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So authoritatively and just clear and just simply.
Yes. All the
Didn't make you feel
information you
stupid.
need is in a
Yeah.
5-minute video.
Yeah.
And like if you need to go back, just like I would pause and write and practice and all of it. And so I remember going through it once, just learning, twice like taking notes, and then I think a third time with my camera and like going over everything. And the one thing that I remember that has helped me a ton to this day is I would like go outside with my camera on and like change all my settings so it would be a perfect shot. So like my white balance, my aperture, just everything. And then I would go straight inside and act as if it was like a real situation where I was like, okay, I need to get the shot outside, and then I need to like immediately be inside. And so I just like put myself through those scenarios of like practicing how to switch white balance, like getting the muscle memory with my camera and all that. And
Isn't
then
it funny thinking back on that?
Dedication.
Part of life,
so
though,
Seriously.
like where I overthought white balance
Yeah.
to death,
Yeah.
and like it was so confusing.
yeah, now it's just second nature. I mean, my wife now is kind of getting into video,
Yeah.
and it's exciting because like all the things that are just second nature that you just, I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
just walk
part
in
of
the
you.
room. Oh yeah, 3,000 Kelvin.
Exactly.
And, you know.
So we just filmed the wedding last weekend, and she was like, what's your like white balance at? And I was like, I haven't even thought about,
Just muscle memory.
yeah. I was like, oh, it's super warming here. I need to like cool it down.
Yeah.
It's so funny thinking back on where you started.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then, from there, I kind of was just like, I don't think I'm ever going to go back to school. Like I remember, and then COVID hit. And then I was like,
Perfect storm for you though.
it was a perfect storm. I remember in the moment, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And a lot of it's in retrospect because none of us knew it was happening.
Yeah.
5
But-
years ago, by the way.
That is
Crazy. That hurts.
5
That hurts to
freaking
think about.
years.
That hurts.
So I'm like, I
can't
I've been
believe
longer
that.
since COVID. And I'm like,
It's
that was
been-
5 freaking
Yeah,
years ago.
5 years ago.
I guess it kind of lingered for like 2.5 years though.
True.
Yeah.
But still, that feels just like yesterday.
Yeah. But yeah, after that, so the biggest blessing from COVID ended up being like I wasn't doing LDS weddings. I was doing little elopements. And so I was getting practice with like people doing vows from the very get-go. Like I was incorporating audio into
Yeah,
my
that's
huge.
video like from the very beginning, which I think if I look back, like I think if COVID didn't happen, I was just doing LDS weddings, I don't think I would have.
Oh, it made you leagues better than Sam
Mm.
instantly.
Sam doesn't listen to this, so we can say that
None of our friends do.
I do sometimes.
It's fine.
when we talk about
When
your
I know
feet.
I'm mentioned,
Yeah, when we
that's when
talk about
I'll-
your feet. Yeah.
Courtney's like an avid listener.
Cornies are like number
One
one.
of those-
listener.
yeah.
Yeah.
She'll like message me. She's like, Jake and Nate were talking to you on their podcast. And I was like, all right. I'll give
We
it a
always
listen."
bring up the boys, man.
But yeah, that's like how I got my start.
Okay.
Like it was very out of nowhere and like dove in head first. And it was like scary, but it also like I don't think I would change any of it. Like that's exactly probably how I would do it.
Yeah. Well, you found what you loved and the creative aspect they never really had before.
Yeah.
Grew to love that even more. Got really good at it. And I'm joking about Sam, but like seriously, like having to incorporate vows in the
And
Utah market
audio.
right away is just a whole. I mean, it's funny. I used to be like so proud of that, like yeah, incorporate audio. But then I realized that once you step out of Utah, everyone's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
they
That's
do
just
it
how you
from
should start
one.
anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that immediately just launched into a whole other bracket in Utah.
I think also what helped me a ton, which looking back, it was hard, but like we were so broke and poor that it almost made it easier to invest into like video stuff. Because if I think now, if I were to try and get into video, I think it would be so much harder. Because I remember people being like, how did you do this? How did you do that? But it's like, we didn't have any expenses. Like our rent was $900. And when I started booking weddings, it was like all of that money basically went straight back into like, okay, I need this piece of gear. I can like save up for 3 weddings and then buy it. Whereas like now I think about that, I'm like, okay, well, rent is $2,000. Like there's so many more
Living-
aspects.
yeah,
Living
living expenses
aspects
just
and
gets more expensive.
And the beauty of your first year that I miss so much is that like it's so much more simple. Like
Yeah.
your equipment is just like a camera and a good lens
Yep.
and a stabilizer. And like you really don't need much more. And so it's just a quicker investment. And you're like, because of that, you have to like perfect those small things better. So I just think it's like I love the first year.
Yeah,
It's a fun
same.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't overthink it because you're doing everything to like, I don't know, you're just trying to make it. So you're
Yeah.
trying everything. You don't care what you post. You don't care.
Don't care what other people really think.
And
Yeah,
then you
you're just-
like, I don't know, something goes viral or you do something really good and you get a lot of hype and praise for it. And you're like, you've tasted that.
Yeah.
And then you post something else. And then you start getting in your head. And I don't know,
Yeah.
I still deal with that a lot. But
No, what an introduction. Dallin,
Dallin,
Dallin Aldous.
Dolan Aldous.
I'm dyslexic. Everyone knows this. No,
Dallin.
seriously. Thank you for being here. Of
course.
And it goes without saying, one of our best friends, if not our best friends, plural. There's 4 of us. One day we'll all be on here together. But this is him. This is the guy. This is the
In
guy.
the flesh.
And
be here.
recently acquired fame, the star of our most viral TikTok.
crazy.
That's wild.
6.5 million views.
I'm in shock.
We were just in New York City filming a wedding, and this contractor we were working with, we were talking about like going viral and stuff, and I was like, yeah, this one video of ours just went viral. She's like, oh, what is it? Let me see. I show it to her. She's like, oh, I saved that one.
That is
In New York,
crazy.
yeah.
I was like, well, that's weird. I don't
Oh
know how
my
made me feel,
gosh.
but I can't imagine. So yeah, this is the guy. You just had those beautiful 2 parts. You did a destination bridal session, and then a wedding, and you want us to be a part of your wedding, so we filmed your destination bridal session, and both were just perfect experiences.
They really were.
Oregon was incredible.
Wouldn't change a thing. Like,
That was perfect.
Was Oregon right before? It was before Ireland.
yeah.
Because
Yeah, it
we
was.
we
It
showed
was.
to Ireland, we were on the cliffs, and I just remember Nate and I both were underwhelmed.
We're just like, this looks
Like,
exactly
this is cool.
like Oregon.
We could have
Oregon
done this.
kind of looks
But
cooler.
we just
in
did
Oregon.
this in Oregon. Yes,
Oregon
that
looks
was,
cooler.
This is the guy. This is the freaking guy.
That was awesome.
And this is also the guy who filmed Nate's wedding.
It's all coming full circle, isn't it?
So I filmed Nate's destination and bridal session in California. My proudest work, 20-minute film. Dallin second shot that with me, and we shot on red Komodos
That was crazy.
That was
because we said
wild.
why not.
Yeah.
That was wild.
And then after that, since Dallin had been there, Nate asked him to film the wedding.
And Dallin was still kind of like he was that guy, you know. He was a friend. He wasn't in the circle yet.
No.
Not yet.
So it
that
was
was
like-
definitely the propeller though.
So it's like who could film this that I'm comfortable with? And it was hey
Because
that
his other
kid-
friend, who should have been a groomsman, was absent. Just didn't really want to show up. So
It's so
So-
funny looking back at that stuff because, like,
isn't that crazy? That's kind of like where it all
it's also embarrassing, like, how I fangirled so hard. Like,
at that wedding.
no,
Oh,
just the
or just
entire
in-
process. I remember you being like, hey, can you come to my house so we can, like, go over
The
some
red.
things? And I was just like, I'm in Jake Weisler's house.
I'm in his
I think I
office.
took a video.
I'm in his
I was like,
In my living room, we did the.
I was like,
He's
we were
live
trying to-
streaming.
we were. Dude, I was trying to learn what the hell shutter speed meant. And we were like, okay, so if you get 240, 180, and we were just like learning it together.
Oh,
on these
shutter
Komodos.
angle.
Shutter angle.
Yeah.
sorry,
Shutter angle. I was
yeah.
like
I knew shutter speed.
Yeah.
Shutter angle. We were trying to figure out what
Yeah.
that meant and what different speeds did.
yep.
And then we learned that like 180 just meant everything. Like it was good for everything.
I still don't understand.
Makes me feel good that you guys were learning, you know, just the day before filming.
It was
My
because I
bridal.
picked up the rental equipment and it was literally the day
I had
before. I think
no idea what you guys were doing.
Yeah,
just,
I'd never shot
Hey,
on
turn-
a cinema camera.
I mean, it turned out incredible.
that was, yeah.
Turned out so good.
Gosh, with Courtney, it was a
Yeah.
good trip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a great trip.
I feel like everyone was there. Yeah, everyone was
Nobody-
there.
Everybody was there.
Everyone was
yeah.
there.
Nobody was missing.
It's so cool that we all have that memory to like look
Yeah.
back on and
Yeah.
say that's like
Yeah.
one of the top 3 most
true.
important memories.
All the boys, Courtney.
Yeah.
Gosh.
What do you do?
Who else?
I wish
yeah,
we could go
yeah,
back.
that was it. That was perfect.
Yeah. And then
Nobody
he filmed
filmed
his
mine.
wedding, and then we did a premiere where we watched him.
That was awesome.
So I will say, we are 3 months post your wedding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Frick, it's already been 3 months.
Has it already been 3?
Yeah.
What's your turnaround time for weddings?
You don't
Just
wanna
curious.
I
Is
do
it a
wanna
year?
know.
We'll match
know. No, I
it.
tell I tell a couple 6 months.
Okay, thank
Okay.
God.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
3 months to go.
You guys, so Dallin's wedding, I shot his. We shot me, Nate, and Sam. All shot his bridals or his portraits in. I've learned that bridals
Spit it out.
triggers people. I know.
Well, it's hard because it's like
Portrait,
such
portrait.
like
Bridals
a-
is a Utah
Yeah,
word,
it
and
is
I've
a
learned
Utah
that
thing.
no one else says
It's-
it, and
it's-
so I've
is
been
it just
trying to
portraits?
adjust to portraits.
Yeah.
All of our pricing things have to change. Anyway,
Portraits.
so we all shot his portraits in Oregon before his wedding, and then Oregon, our friend Richard Ney shot your
Okay.
wedding. We were all groomsmen, some more important than others, and then Richard gave me the footage, and I'm going to edit his film and make it a YouTube video for you guys to watch, a job show of how I edit films, and it's probably gonna be like another 15, 20-minute film. And I already have the intro done,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it chills.
Have you seen it?
No,
I haven't seen
no
it.
one's
I
seen
haven't
it.
seen it.
Chills. But it's one of those projects, man, where like you're so excited about it, it kind of overwhelms you to start it. You know
Yeah.
those ones?
Yeah.
So
Take
luckily I
your
have the
time.
intro out of my way.
Take your sweet time.
Take your time.
But as you know, we'll talk about your editing style in a second. But as you know, the intro I feel like really sets the pace.
Yeah.
If you can get that big weight off your plate,
Yeah.
you feel really good about
Oh,
kind of
so
keeping the
true.
flow going.
Yeah.
So I have the intro that I'm really stoked about. But it's just one of those things. I have so many backlog things.
How long is the intro?
A couple minutes.
I know the
There
amount
might
of
be
people,
2 intros. That's all I'll say.
The amount of people who are like, "Wait, that was just a sneak peek,
I know.
a teaser,"
That was
and
just
I
a
was like,
teaser?
honestly,
Yeah.
I think that's also why I'm like, I mean, multiple reasons. I don't care how long it takes.
Yeah.
Something to hold you over.
Yeah. Unpopular maybe opinion. I wish every couple would just like be okay with it being 6 months after their wedding. Like I think it gets so much more special because like you've moved on from the day. You've like the memories are there, but like the details are getting a little hazy. Like you're like, oh, I missed that day. And then you get the video and it's just like full circle. Like all of the memories come back. You
like
get to
that take.
relive it.
I like that.
It's a different take. I'm,
like
I'm a
it.
fan.
Because rather than like, if you get it
Instant.
super quick, like even say like a month.
You remember it already.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
well.
just like, it's nice because obviously you get to share it with people who weren't there. It's not old news. Like you're not bringing it back up. Like more so social media.
Yeah.
Like if you can get over all of that, like
But then it's over.
it is
all
over.
within a month.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Whereas like
Interesting
6
take.
months later, it's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm making myself feel better for like longer delivery
Two
times.
things to be
But
true at once. Yeah. I see that virtue actually.
I like that take.
yeah. But it's hard. Like, obviously, people really want it and like want to relive it and stuff. But that's why like I'm not stressed at all. Like if it took a year, I'd be like,
It won't
That's
take.
fine.
It'll be. It's the next thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I like that take. I think what we try to do is we like to have like a teaser delivered, and usually their ceremony edit delivered like that
Yeah.
week.
that's smart because ceremony edits don't.
Yeah,
Pulls you over.
just hey,
Yeah.
share this with grandma. Here's your ceremony. It was beautiful. Multicams, whatever. And then their teaser. That way they have something to kind of hold them over
Yeah.
and share while they wait for their film, whether it's 3 or 4 months.
That's smart.
for us. Typically about 3. Yeah,
That's very smart.
yeah. No, I feel bad. I feel bad that your video is.
Don't. We're not
6 months.
stressed at all.
It's gonna be good.
I'm so excited.
And we're gonna have a celebration to watch it.
Rent out the movie theater.
I think we should.
I'd be
If
let's
we all
do it.
chip in.
Let's all
Absolutely.
chip
I
in.
can't afford it this
Doesn't
time
have
to
FTF
carry
money
that
anymore.
to carry that weight alone.
Isn't it only like it's like $300
yeah,
an
how
hour,
much?
right?
Depends. It'd probably be close to $500.
An hour?
Yeah, for the hour.
$100 a couple
Well,
ish.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Or we
we'll
can
figure
go
out
with like
logistics.
yeah.
You guys can all come. Tickets are $20.
Those are the big
Yeah.
theater. I wonder if we can get like the smaller, like those like 3 rows, like the luxury
Oh,
seating
yeah.
theaters.
There's that theater kind of near me in PG.
blue
It's
one?
kind of like I don't even know if it's like branded.
The blue one,
Is it blue?
the blue
It's like
wall
a dollar theater.
on Main Street, the one I wanted to buy.
No, not what? Maybe.
That one's crappy. Would
Maybe.
never.
Man, you having a movie
No,
theater?
like Route did an event there one time, and it was like they rented out the whole theater.
Oh, not this place.
Yeah, no, probably not that place.
I would love a movie theater. Be fun.
I'd work there.
Be fun. I would work there. Sling popcorn.
We all just retire and
Worked in
How
a
cool
movie
would it be
theater.
though if like I opened a movie theater and there's like 2 cinemas. There's like one for like mainstream movies and like one for indies or
So
like
sick.
projects or like events, parties, whatever. And then I just imagine it being like a red carpet, like
that'd be sick.
the guy slinging popcorn. I need him to be in sleeve garters,
yeah.
a vest, little cap, like look like the 1920s. Warm lighting, lamps,
I feel like there's the market for it.
Vintage.
kind of fun.
Yeah, that would be sick. Someday.
Profit margins would be slim.
It would be for the experience.
It would be.
It would be for the
It'd
experience.
be one of those things you just kind of like run like a lemonade stand. You just
You do
You
it
just
because
have-
spend what you make.
You do it because you like it.
you spend what you make. The kids get to have a little job growing up.
Yeah.
Learn the work ethic.
So maybe one day if I have a few money, I'll just
Buy a theater.
I would love to. It'd be fun. You could probably make some profit if you like do corporate events in one of the theaters.
Easy.
Oh, you could rent it out easy.
Easy.
Join WIPA as a business. Join some networking clubs.
This is sponsored by.
No, anyway, going back to editing though.
Yeah.
Dallin, the reason, if not one of the maybe the only reason we wanted to have you on, is because we would consider you an expert in editing.
That is crazy.
Fantastic editor.
One
You're-
of the best storytellers.
You're
out there.
I really respect that. Like you joined the crew. Me, Jake, Sam, but you filmed differently than all of us. You took on like kind of the handheld approach. We were all gimbal, not monopod, but
Yeah.
And
Sam's on the glide cam.
Sam's. But you kind of
Ancient mother effer.
you kind of took on that
Fly cam.
handheld vibe.
Knock off like.
The only person in the group that kind of did that,
Yeah.
and your editing style was a lot different than all of ours.
Yeah.
So I really respect that. And your 2024 edit that you just dropped
Guys, go
really
watch
highlighted your editing skills.
it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Amazing.
Where'd you develop them? I guess how'd you learn them? Who'd you look to?
Like the music I
Music, okay, I will say it's so hard because I think like the imposter syndrome is just so real. Like I feel like in every aspect because I think of myself not as like an expert editor.
But you got hired by Film Lab to be an
Yeah,
editor because
it's
you're
such
so
a
good.
weird like it messes with my mind because I don't think I'm a bad editor. But then when I do start like if I like bring myself to reality and like look at myself as if I were to look at somebody else, then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like I am a pretty good editor.
mm-hmm.
But I just feel uncomfortable viewing myself in that way. But I will say like music has always been a huge part of my life. And the amount of inspiration I draw from like music is crazy. It's like, because I'll hear a song and I can like see the intro. Like I can see how the edit will unfold.
So some people shoot all their footage. And I mean, this is usually the approach that we take, but like we shoot everything and then we find a song afterwards that fits the footage. Do you feel like you work better by finding a song beforehand and then shooting with that kind of vibe in mind?
I actually wish I did that. If I was like more on top of myself, like
That's what,
Invest in his clients.
some may phrase it that way. No, truly, like if I did, I think that like I could be even better.
Yeah.
Because I usually will also just find it afterwards. But to that degree, I think the thing that I've learned with editing and all of it is like, one, it really does depend on the client. Because there was a little bit of a period there where like I was trying to force the style onto like weddings that didn't fit that style.
Yeah.
I was trying to do handheld with weddings that I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. And it wasn't until like 6 months later when I was looking back, I was like, it's not bad. Like I'm still proud of the work, but I think it could have been a lot better if I went into the wedding being like, okay, like this is more of like a gimbal vibe.
Yeah.
This wedding is way more of like a handheld vibe and like the couple and their personality. And so I feel like I've done that. Like I will adapt to my clients in that way, but I enjoy like the handheld and like the more just like I'm not anywhere like near Will Sarmiento, but like
good inspiration though.
Yeah, like so I look up to Will a lot in that type of stuff. And Ivan, I'm like blanking on his last name. I want to show you guys his stuff. He's in Australia.
Okay.
Just like one of the most talented under the radar videographers. Like anytime he posts his wedding stuff, I'm like, holy crap, like just beautiful composition, colors, everything. And then he started to do a lot more of like personal stuff. And I just like look at it, I'm like, dang, like you just have the eye for it. And it's like a lot more quick pace, fun cuts, and then it will go slow. And I feel like I resonate a lot with that. Like a lot of like fast and then a lot more sentimental. Like, because I feel like it hits so much harder when you have a lot of fast cuts or like an upbeat song and then it goes into just like the emotion. Yeah, it's like a very high contrast.
No, it's a good journey. No, I think about that one edit you did. I forget where it was. They were swimming.
Yeah.
And it goes underwater.
Virgin Islands.
Gosh, I always think about the edit as like a good example of like my emotions just went on a roller coaster of like feeling like so hype and then feeling like, wow, I could cry. Like this is emotional. Like this is a beautiful story. I'm like, gosh, what a freaking party though. Like at the same time. And that's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's hard to do too.
Yeah, and I think about actually my wedding edit that you made, because it was like really high pace. It was like really fast, and then it kind of like stops, and then it starts like a drone shot over the valley of the canyon. And it just gets really slow, and then it picks back up for the dance party. And I remember Jake and I, we were after watching my wedding video that you made, we're like, dang, Dallin films his dancing in 60 frames a second.
Some of it, yeah.
Because it was so cool. Because
Kayla shot, man.
Yeah, during the dance party, like it's fast and then it slows down to like the people partying, and then it goes back up.
Yeah.
And we're just like, dang, that's such a cool look. And we've never done that. We always film everything in 24. And a couple weddings after that, we actually tried that. I don't know why
You're like, it sucked.
Yeah, there's a reason we switched back to
because we outsourced our wedding.
Haven't done it since. But no, I think that like the knowing the rules so that you can break them goes hand in hand with that type of editing because it's like I remember I think even in some of the videos for full-time filmmakers like makes no sense to like film it in 60. And I was thinking about it and I was like, honestly, it would be kind of a vibe to like, I mean, basically exactly what I did for your wedding to have it be like super fast paced. And then like one slow shot. And I think I did it a couple times.
You did a couple times in the dance.
What's the word where like it's all or nothing? Like it's never do this, always do this. What's that word? Definitives? Is it definitive?
Yeah.
FTF had a lot of definitives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one weakness.
Which is actually, it's kind of hard to break those definitives. Like one of the best.
The principles should be definitives, but I think like you said, like you should also know like, well, if I have a style in mind that it works and that's
you can
when
do something else, yeah.
So to reference another videographer, Dougie, which you guys met at our
Daydream. Daydream Films.
He is probably
he's so talented.
The best at like going against the grain of weddings.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Because like, and it definitely is just like a style thing, because on one hand, audio is obviously so important. He never uses audio. And he's had a lot of like couples come to him and be like, I don't love the audio. Like, and so there's a market out there who like brides don't love the audio. They don't love
absolutely
that. And so like he taps into that, but then even more so, it's like, I've convinced him to get more gear, which he probably doesn't need to, but like he used to have just like one camera, one lens, like a 24-70, and that was it. We would just show up on a wedding day and just like film throughout the day.
dude.
It's wild.
It's very popular too. With Dougie and there's other guys. These are two guys in Japan I follow, and they specialize in like basically being a content creator, but like a filmmaker content creator.
Yeah.
So they give you like a 4 or 5 minute, really crazy cinematic hype recap that you're like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, but it's not like a traditional wedding video.
Exactly. That is,
And there's no expectations for it to be. There's no like multicam audio or ceremony. It's just like, this is what you're paying them to do, is create that product.
hype.
Yeah.
it's really hard. So
It's really
I
interesting.
filmed a wedding with him in Paris, and it was kind of hard because I'm so used to like setting up my camera angles, recording throughout the whole thing. And when I show up to weddings like that, I'm like, do you want me standing in one spot then filming the whole thing? And like in their mind, they're not thinking like I could potentially use some of this in an edit. It's just like, I really want to nail down my composition and like nail my shots
yeah.
and then use them for that highlight.
So interesting.
But it's so hard for me to go into that situation being like, okay, like you don't want me.
because you want, in your
filming the
mind, the
whole
more
thing.
the better, because it's more to draw from for
Yep.
the story.
Yeah,
But he's like, what story?
exactly. Yeah.
The story is just how hype this recap is.
Yeah.
We should have Dougie on. He's a cool guy.
Yeah,
He
we
is
will.
awesome.
Are we allowed to talk about that Paris wedding?
Man.
Maybe we shouldn't. But let's just say the ball was dropped.
Let's just say,
We'll bring on.
I don't know. Here's the thing. So gear was stolen that was unattended.
There's a big conspiracy about it too.
Big
it was all planned.
conspiracy.
Huge conspiracy.
Organized crime.
It is organized. The thing that's funny to me is since that wedding, I still have left my gear unattended completely. Like,
In Paris?
no.
Where?
Just different wedding.
Idaho.
Idaho, Utah.
Not saying they're the same, but I'm
Yeah,
not saying they're
yeah.
different.
But it's just funny because, yeah, I before that experience, like, and the caliber of that wedding, I just would have never thought,
Such a high profile
yeah,
wedding.
high profile wedding, gear, like, and I'm not talking
lowly,
just like,
lowly
it was
vendors we're talking, man.
it was a
big
full
money
gimbal.
coming in.
C70, 18 to 35 with a shotgun mic.
So for those trying
Stolen.
to put these pieces together, a camera was stolen and all the footage was lost.
Yeah,
The A cam.
All the footage.
yeah,
Yeah. Heartbreaking.
it was unfortunate.
Yeah, Dallin was texting us about it in real time. We were all just, I couldn't believe it. Like,
It
was
felt like a
shocking.
movie.
Yeah.
It
So
well,
sad.
with the conspiracy too, the security cameras and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot to it. We should,
We'll get
We should have
Dougie
Dougie on.
on. We'll get
you
Dougie
should
on.
have Dougie on, and you should have him tell it.
but I mean, like low level vendors, low level. Yeah. Vendors, thieves saw big money coming into their town and said, let's just organize and just grab what we can.
Yeah,
And they stole a lot of money.
yeah.
Money's
like
worth of
10 grand.
equipment. Yeah.
Crazy.
They should have sold the footage. They should have been like, I'll give you, because he would have paid.
Dude, if they would have known what that footage was worth,
Could
like
you imagine?
blackmail. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
you'd be
I'll give you your equipment and footage back for $30K. All
I
right.
have no other choice.
Would you have paid $30K
Probably not.
Okay.
I would have.
No.
I don't know.
for the magic we created? So there is a value to it, I guess.
Man.
This is all about money.
These memories aren't priceless. So, Don, tell us about your 2025. What's going on?
2025. This is an interesting year.
Why?
Well, let's talk about your 2024 real quick.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened.
Baby, wedding, new job,
Yep.
moved twice,
Yeah.
once, twice,
Once.
once.
Lost some weight.
Big year,
Lost some weight.
a couple of pounds here and there.
Couple. Just found an old pic. I'll show you guys. Had the long hair and everything.
Dallin's transformation
Is
needs to be
crazy.
described only as mythological.
It's just straight from the Renaissance, man.
Going from probably our silliest looking homeless friend to the sexiest friend I have.
For real.
Just a pure specimen, my man.
All right, 2024.
He still
Let's
isn't
just
into
keep
his
talking.
hot bod
You need
mindset
to
yet. He doesn't know how to respond to compliments.
I
No.
don't. I'm
How much
horrible.
weight did you lose?
50 pounds.
Dude, that's literally a cinder block.
Yeah.
Did you know that? The cinder block weighs 50 pounds?
Wait, one does?
Yeah.
One? Does it really?
Yeah.
I need to
Wow.
lose another 50. No, I'm just kidding. That's crazy.
Picture
Full circle.
A full cinder block.
Picture this. You are carrying a cinder block around with you at all times.
That's
Yeah, it's shocking.
wow.
2024.
Could be clamped anywhere.
Okay, well, let's like kind of go back a little bit because I
Okay.
feel like my journey in weddings has been very interesting.
It has been.
So 2022, I went through a divorce, and that like it just really messed with me because like I remember after everything was finalized. I remember being at my desk and like I think I had like 6 weddings to edit at that point, and it was just so hard to like go through something so heartbreaking and then like sit there and edit the happiest day of people's lives, right? And so I remember like just taking like a 2 or 3 month hiatus, like didn't touch anything editing wise. And then during that, it like I was also filming. And so I think I had, and this truly was like my lowest, I had like 18 weddings that needed to be edited. And I was like, I don't even know where to begin. It was like I knew what I needed to do, but once I sat down, I got overwhelmed. Just like didn't know what to do. And so 2023 was kind of like a recovering year from that. 2023 also met my now wife, but also unexpectedly got pregnant.
Understatement to call it a recovery year, because like that was like one of the most transformative
It was
years of your
super
life.
transformative.
Yeah, it
Like
was.
mentally, physically, spiritually, all of those things.
But what's funny is like that's not necessarily like the headspace that I was in as I was going through it. Like I was kind of in survival mode, and a lot of like benefit happened obviously from it. But like going into 2023, I was like, okay, I don't know if you guys remember, I was in Australia for like a month.
Yeah, and then Bali or something.
And then
right?
Bali, I went to Bali. I was like just in my honestly, I was like in my prime because I had lost a lot of weight. I was feeling a lot better about myself. I just like, I was getting over the hump of all those weddings and I just was in a way better place. Met Morgan, found out we were pregnant very soon after. Hours later. And then that's where a lot of things started clicking, like priorities started shifting. I was like, hey, like I'm going to be a dad. I like need to get my crap together. And so that's when,
You'll see.
I'll see someday.
so yeah, it was just a lot of like, honest. And then also I wasn't as busy because I remember, I didn't take on nearly as many weddings because
Your back
the
was
previous
crazy,
year
yeah.
was just like so stressful.
So also
work
your
was-
ex was your second shooter and
Yeah.
like kind of a
Yeah.
core part of your business. So
plays
that's
into
it.
probably like a weird thing to like adjust to.
Yeah, it was hard going to weddings, shooting everything by myself. And so it was just like,
If only he had 3 friends who
nah,
come help.
you guys are
Just didn't want to pay.
surpassed. Yeah, honestly, probably didn't have money. But yeah, so then it was kind of just like reacting to a lot of things. It was like prepping. We moved into a place together, like prepping the house for the baby. That's when I started working with Film Lab, and because I just like needed some stability.
Yeah.
And then it was crazy. The day my daughter was born, that's when I got offered the job of where I'm at currently.
Which
And
was
everything-
about a year ago exactly.
A year ago exactly. Sunday
Wow.
is Lucy's birthday, which is crazy. But yeah, I like remember interviewing for jobs, and I feel like the silver lining with it all is I feel like 2022 Dallin, 2021 Dallin would be very kind of like disappointed to see where I've ended up. Like you're not like doing everything on your own. You're working for somebody. But I feel like the silver lining to where I feel really good now is I'm like, I have stability. And it's allowing me, I feel like, so much more flexibility creatively. Because before, I really was taking on every single wedding that was coming my way. Like I had my set pricing, but
And that's how you burn out, man.
that's exactly how I burnt out. Because I think I was like at 3,500. And somebody would be like, well, my budget's 2,500. And I was like, okay, well, and I would try and stick to my pricing. But then I would look at my bills coming in, and I was like, I have to
book
take
it.
this wedding.
You were booking a lot of weddings.
Yeah,
right?
and so I would say, I was like, hey, I don't normally do this. I did it all the time.
every single
I
wedding.
never do this.
Never do this. But I was just like, hey, like I'd love to do this wedding. Like, and a lot of times it was with like vendors that I have worked with before, and I was like, I love working with this planner, that photographer. So I was like, so I'll do it for this price. And so I was just like I was doing that a lot, and I was undervaluing myself, but I felt like because I had to, because I was like, I don't know what else to do, because everything was on me. Like I couldn't not take on work. I couldn't not pay bills. And so this job that I've taken on, it allows me to still do videography, which is really cool for me, because I'm like, again, like I dropped out of college not knowing at all what I wanted to do. So now being able to use a skill that I've curated to be able to do day to day, that's allowed me to have stability. And honestly, they're so good with my flexibility too. It's just like, hey, this is our content schedule. If you get this all done in a day, like you could just deliver that all to us, and
You got the rest of the week off.
yeah,
pretty much.
like and so that has allowed me a lot of flexibility. It's allowed me to stick to my pricing now, because like I'll send it, and if people don't book with me, it's fine. Like I'm not like, dang, like I need that.
Yeah.
I actually think that's really important talking point, actually, is because you said, what'd you say? I think 2022 me would have been ashamed of where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty crazy, because where you're at right now, we joke about it in the chat a lot, but you're the only employed friend.
Yeah.
So you should be paying for everything when we go to movie nights and everything. But I think just like years ago, and it's not so much so anymore, but years ago, it was just like this push. You have to be a content creator. You have to escape the 9 to 5. If you don't, you're worthless. You're working for the man.
Yeah.
You're wasting your life away. But something that people, I think, are slowly starting to realize is that there's a lot of beauty and stability. And that's what a 9 to 5 offers. And Jake and I talk about this all the time. We envy a 9 to 5, because at 5, you clock out. You're with your family. You got nothing to think about, and you're just hanging out. You got 4 or 5 hours to not do anything.
That's been the hardest thing, actually, to like try and rewire my brain. Is before there's always this stress, and actually I do feel it's because I still do weddings.
Yeah.
And so that's what 2024 or 2025, I want to try and have a better schedule for myself. But when I took this job, I remember it being like a Saturday and Sunday, and being like, I like need to be editing. Like I need to be like doing stuff. And I was like, I can as long as obviously my work is done for them, it's like I can fully turn off my brain on Saturday and Sunday, and like completely.
And do you feel like having this 9 to 5 job is kind of like, I guess you've already said it, it's kind of allowed you to get your creativity back with your other projects, because you're not relying on those things to pay your monthly bills?
Yeah.
It's kind of just like, I have
So
something.
the downsides that I've realized is 2022, I think, was like my best financial year, but hardest year of my life, like emotionally, best financial year. The other hard thing is like, and actually my boss now has kind of mentioned it. He's like, yes, you may have made a lot of money that year, but you also were tied up. Like your time was completely gone that year. And so there's truth in that. But the hard thing with being self-employed, it's just like everything has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
The pro was, I remember, I think the best month that I've ever done in my business was like 20,000.
Wow.
And again, going back to when I was in college, like working part-time, my year
10,000.
was 10 grand. And so the hard thing was, and I would go back and change so many things, but like not being mature financially was really hard, because like I would have like a $20,000 month, a $12,000 month, a $10,000 month,
$2,000.
and then, well, I remember I had 3 months in a row where it was literally zero.
Yeah.
And like I was living within my means, I was doing these things, but then those months, like 3 months having no paycheck come in was really hard, because that 20,000 check now all of a sudden becomes 8 grand, which obviously that's still a lot of money. But again, like,
but when you get that $20,000, you're not necessarily thinking 6 months down the road, I'm not going to get, you only think, oh, I'm going to get 20,000 next month. And for the next 5 months, I'm going to buy a house in 6 months.
And some people quit their jobs after that first month.
And some people buy a 4Runner that's rusted out and you put 20 grand into it, and I kid you not, that was the start of all my financial problems.
You bought
Wow.
the 4Runner, man.
Yeah,
Didn't
Dallin
take
bought
it.
a car without a frame, basically.
He didn't take it to someone to look at it. He's like, yep,
No,
looks good.
I learned that advice early on too. Is like before you quit your job, take like a 6-month average first. Like you have to have at least 6 months of your side hustle. Again, I know it's different for everyone, but it's just like, and then look at your lowest month. Can you live off of that?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, then you have some work to do. But if the answer is yes, it's like, yeah, if I can live off my lowest month, then every other month is just a bonus.
Yeah.
Extra cash.
And a lot of it, honestly, is self-inflicted, like struggles and stuff. Like, again, going back, I was like, okay, I could have
just
done...
spend what you make.
Exactly.
That's kind of what happens.
And if I could go back, or for any, like, self-employed person, it is just like... Because you go into it...
I've never felt that true before. I was like, what the hell?
You go into a self-employment most of the time being like out of passion, right? Like we started filming weddings out of passion,
Mm-hmm.
but unknowingly you are also now a business owner. Your customer service. You take on
You're
all
a
of
one-man
these.
production company.
Yes, and you don't.
Yeah.
I at least I did not go into it thinking any of that, and so like knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to like sell yourself, like all these things I was just not used to. I was like, I just like filming, and now all of a sudden I have to add on all of these other things, and so there was a lot that like I just wasn't prepped for. All of it is again in retrospect, but yeah, I don't know.
No, I want to dive into that a lot more. Nate was saying we always talk about wanting a 9-to-5. I think the principle of what you've said mainly is I encourage people to like keep their jobs for as long as they can, and just say, listen, like the principle is, is one prohibiting you from doing the other. So like if your 9-to-5 is holding you back from making more money and you can tell, then yeah, it might be time to like go all in on something else.
Yeah.
But if it's one of those things where you're making decent money and that is giving you the opportunity to live this other life that is also giving your life stability, then that's a good thing. You shouldn't let go of one just because like people around you are like the Andy Elliots of the world are saying like, oh, you have to quit. Like own your life, work 25-hour days. It's just like, shut up.
And there's a lot of pressure. Like I think I succumbed to the pressure of that. Whereas now it's just a lot more like everybody's situation is different. And I remember being like, even when I took on this job, I was like, I don't want to be the only like employed friend. Like I don't want to be the only one.
How that pure comparison happens though.
But again, like it's just been so much better so like what it's allowed me to do. So moving forward is
it's funny because us three were like, dang, Dallin got a real job.
Dallin's actually
so we're all envious
well,
of
it's
you.
nice. And again, there were like blessings in it because my daughter was just born and now she's like covered under like I have insurance now.
You don't have to pay for it
never
now.
had insurance before. And so like I have
Wait,
insurance.
Wait. You didn't have insurance before?
No, I was 20. I turned
Oh,
26.
gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
2 years
Okay.
ago.
Dallin's a few years younger than us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I was like, you've never had insurance.
But I honestly, if I was still self-employed, I don't know if I would have.
Dang.
I probably wouldn't have either.
Yeah, I probably would have like.
If I was single.
Yeah.
Oh, if I was single, yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't
don't
have
think
life. If I died, no one would know.
Yeah. So now it's nice. Like
I think you're thinking of life insurance.
No, that too. No, I'm saying
Okay.
like health insurance, life insurance. Like I would just like
you just accept it.
if I didn't have health insurance and they're like, this was going to cost to fix you, I'd be like, I guess I'm dying and leaving nothing to the world.
Yeah. So 2025 is like when I think of weddings, my business, honestly, it's all kind of like a blur because I don't fully know what the answer is. What I do know is I feel a lot more confident in just like being comfortable in what I'm creating.
Yeah.
Because I felt even
that.
though like I am proud of a lot of my work, like I love what I do. I feel like it's been like this keeping up type of mentality of like, oh, I need to keep up with my friends or the people I look up to. And it's just like been an unhealthy, like mentally, like it just hasn't been good. So now going into it, it's like for sure, it's like rebranded because it's like, I just want to brand myself as myself, like as a dad. I like fitness, but I'm not like, I don't want to necessarily be like this fitness influencer. I just want to share
Documenting your
Life.
life.
yeah, like I want to
Cinematic way.
document my life in a cinematic way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, and I just don't, I want it to be shameless. Like whatever I put out, I want to just like, I'm proud of it and I like it.
Dude, I just want to say to our listeners too, like if creativity isn't organic, it'll burn you out so quickly.
Yep.
So if you're creating to keep up with people or to try to be like somebody, and it's not solely coming from a place of an organic desire to be a creative, and using them as an inspiration source, but you're literally just trying to be that person, you will burn out and you will be depressed, and it will be it'll put you so many more steps backward than forward because you won't know who you are at the end of the day and what you're really going towards. Whereas if you're just, if you find out the why you like doing something, like for me, I lost my passion for the wedding world probably like 2 years in, when I realized what you just said. Like, I'm not just a camera operator.
Yeah.
I am every other role. And so now, and where I'm at now is a very healthy relationship with weddings, where I compartmentalize my jobs, where I know that when I'm showing up to be a wedding videographer, that for those 10 hours that day, I am a camera operator and I can be passionate about that. But then when I leave, I got to check that out, and I got to say, now that fun creative part is done, I got to be psyched about being a business owner and pricing guides and figuring out, our CRM and what sells and consultation. I got to compartmentalize my enthusiasm about each of those things. And then I think once you kind of face that monster head on, it's a lot easier. Whereas when you're trying to I want to be a videographer. And then just like, you have to be all these other things. And it's just like, well, I don't want to do that. Yeah. It's hard.
And I had a couple bad experiences too. Like, I had a couple that was not happy at all.
I remember that. Screw them.
It was so hard.
That was wild.
And I think that there's still part of me that like needs healing from that, because like
I would never get over it. I would probably leave
trauma. Well, yeah, it's on Google reviews to go and
I don't know what I do. I was thinking about that. I was like, what would I do?
Like, it ruined me. Like, I remember I like literally cried, and I was just like, this is embarrassing. It's hard. And there are it's so hard because I could have handled the situation to make me not feel this way, but I also was in a place because I knew 99% of other people would have done what the couple wanted. But I just kept getting walked on, where I was like, I just need to like stand my ground.
Yeah.
And it still sucked because I'm like, all of it could have been avoided.
Can you remind me what the couple was asking? I forgot.
So there's a lot of like precursor information that like led up to it. But
give us the bullets.
They hired me. And then a week later, they were like, oh, my cousin said that they would film it for free, so we don't need you.
A week before the wedding?
No, I think it was like 2 weeks later. A week or two later.
Okay.
And so they're like, can we get our deposit back? And I was like, no. Like, it's a non-refundable. And so I was like, I'm totally fine with you guys going with your cousin, but like I did have 2 other weddings and inquiries for that date. And I told them that.
Yeah.
In the review, literally,
even if you didn't, though,
exactly.
That's the point.
It's a retainer.
Yep.
Yes. And so they were like, he lied to us that he got other weddings and all these things that like make me look bad, but whatever. And so that all happened. We show up today. They're just like not super friendly to me. And that was also hard. Like, I went and said hi to the groom, and he was like, hey, dude. And like, even in his review, he's just like, super nice guy, but, and I was like, it was not even personalized. He wasn't like, Dallin is this, or this is our experience.
Both leave a review.
Yeah. So 2 bad reviews. And so it was just like
just malice.
Oh, also they were trying to like rework my hours throughout the day, because like I was there, I think, for 6 hours, and they were like, okay, so for dinner you can go and have like an hour and a half long break and then come back. And I was like, well, and I'm finding this out during the day. And they didn't feed me dinner either. And so it was just like really weird during the day, and like,
go get McDonald's. We'll be here.
Well, I think I was putting it together as I was sitting there on my break. Like, I was like, I think that they're wanting another hour and a half after dinner for me to stay, because I was like looking at the schedule,
which I'm sure you probably learned communication before.
Exactly.
Over communicate. Coverage is continuous. Have it in ironclad
and there are
writing.
fully things that I did wrong in this situation. Like, I'm not trying to paint this picture of like, oh, I'm perfect and had
it's
a bad
easier
review.
in retrospect.
Yeah. But I remember like putting it together, being like, oh, they're wanting me to stay like an hour and a half longer. And I did not charge them for that. And honestly, I'm glad I didn't, because the review probably would have been so much worse. Because I was going to be like, hey, just so you know, like.
But one of those things, like, I probably didn't clarify that.
Exactly.
So.
And that's why I was just like, okay. I over-delivered on like time. I think they paid for a 5-minute. It was like an 8 or 9 minute delivery.
Yeah.
And in my contract, it says like music can't be changed. And so they wanted like a rework of basically the entire video.
Which for your style, it's centered on the music.
Yeah.
So it's re-edit the whole film.
And it was just really weird. Like, so they said that, and I said, hey, no, like I won't do
Can't
that.
do that.
And then they were like commenting on my other videos, and they're like tagging each other, and they were like, this is the music that we want.
Oh my god.
And then I was getting texts after all of this had transpired, and they were just like, so we're just confused because we paid you all this money. We're confused why we can't get what we're wanting. And I was just like, was referring to the contract. I was referring to all of this stuff. And I was like, if you want me to like re-edit, here's my hourly rate.
You bought a Hershey's. How come you can't make it a Twix?
Yeah,
Well, you
exactly.
bought
I was like,
my product.
I was like, here's my editing fee, like per hour. I'll do it for this. And he's like, yeah, we're not going to pay that. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
Great.
Here's your product.
And then
Happy
it's
honeymoon.
funny. It's
Yeah.
funny because in the review, because I also said, I was like, this could take like anywhere between like 6 and
Yeah, you're in the back of my backlog.
yeah. I was like 6. Well, no, I was saying time. Like I was like, this could take between like 6 and 14 hours. You know, I was like, I don't know
Just
how
a
long.
hourly
Yeah, I was just like,
estimate. Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, so this is kind of like what you can plan for. I was like, I don't think it would take the most amount, but in the review, it's funny because they like took my hourly rate and the
14
longest
hour.
amount of time, and they're like, he's saying that he's going to charge us $4,000 to re-edit, and I was like, so that whole experience was like really hard for me because I was like, I love weddings because you're dealing with people who are just like so in love and happy. And it's like the peak moment of their life at the time. And it was really hard. And then I actually had one other not great experience.
Which one?
Similar.
But they didn't leave a review. Did
They didn't leave a review.
That's good.
And honestly, the way that they communicated to me was very nice. They were just like, this is like kind of awkward, but just to be completely honest, we're not super thrilled with the edit.
Mm.
And I went back and watched it, and I was like, I can see like where they're coming from. It was still really good. Like I was so proud of it, but I was like, you know, if you're looking at my work, comparing it to what you got, and a lot of it, that's what's hard too, is a lot of it is dependent on the day, you know, and the couple.
They look at your best work and they think they're going to get that, but
Exactly.
they don't throw the
Which-
wedding
yeah.
to do that.
Which I always say to the con of doing things, the J Mac, Will Sarmiento, your style, is that.
Yeah.
Is
People
that
expect that.
sometimes the couple might have the money and say, I want that. I
How do
love
you,
that, but
like-
they aren't that.
What's the best way to then, because
I don't know.
we're always told like showcase your best work. And so if people are paying your price,
I say
yeah.
your style is a premium, and the best ways to weed out is to raise prices. Option one, but also weird people can just have money.
Yeah.
Option two, I think a lot of consultation calls beforehand.
Yeah. It's actually fun. That's
But option three,
I asked the question. And
yeah.
Yeah,
Option
exactly.
three, and I think I wouldn't be in weddings if I stuck that, because we switched to just trying to work with as many planners as we could,
mm-hmm.
because I'm just so tired of having to deal with any communication from the brides.
Yeah.
I love our
Yeah.
brides. We have
Yep.
great brides. But I just love having a layer between us where they say, I want a re-edit. And the planner says, well, let me look at the contract. Okay, here's what's going to cost you. And I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about it because I
Yeah.
know someone's going to bat for me. And if we pick the right planners, they're booking brides with, you know, budgets that do the weddings that that planner does. And it's kind of guarantee that we're going to get that type of a client.
Yeah.
And so the last 2 years, just having to work like directly with most brides, it's been really nice for that reason. But we're also not as a personalized service as I'd say
Yeah.
you, Will, and J-Mac are.
J-Mac.
Definitely J-Mac
Yeah.
and you. I think Will kind of.
I think those are the things that I want to implement too, because I tried the consultation calls like 2 years ago, and it was a waste of my time. I was like so hyped, and I don't think I ever booked a wedding from a consultation call. Probably, yeah. Let's not go into that.
I was going to say that. I was not going to say that. I just
Like-
want to hear more about that. But
Well, and I felt like, because we would leave the call so good, and there was a particular couple that I was like, they were like, you're our first choice, you're in our budget, all these things. And then I think like 2 days later, I went to follow up, and they're like, hey, we decided to go with another videographer. And I was just like,
What?
what a waste of time.
How
And
could you?
And I was like, I was so emotionally invested too. And I
Yeah.
was like, that sucks.
penciling in your calendar and everything.
Yeah. And then I think
Just
from
a
there,
waste.
I was like, are these consultation calls worth my time? But I think like with what you're saying, and I do agree, like there have been a lot of changes in my business and things where I can do that now, where it's like, okay, I'm like confident in my pricing, and I can just like communicate that with my couples. Whereas before, I don't think I even had that. I was kind of just like, I feel like this is probably what I should be charging. And I think that's also why I was so willing to,
Yeah.
Change my pricing. And then 2, I think like communicating my style and like what I deliver to couples. And yeah, if it's like, our wedding isn't going to be like that, or we're kind of looking for this, to be confident enough to be like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
I think, and even like referring like, hey, I think these people might be
Right.
perfect for you.
No, it's such a tricky business, especially. And I'd say it's also like the hardest part about doing that style is that you have to be involved too, because without Dallin, the edit isn't what you promise. Like
I've also had a hard
to be
time
the
with
shooter, you have to be the editor,
Yep.
because your product is very specific to how you shoot and how you edit. Whereas Nate and I, one of our goals was to like grow and to like have more shooters and eventually maybe not even have to be at the weddings. But
Is that
that's
still the direction you guys are going?
maybe like the long term would be kind of cool to have like maybe 2 other guys so we can
Yeah.
like break
Have a
off
team.
and do 2.
Yeah.
But very trained, like full-time employee type guys.
Hey, I don't mind full-time jobs.
I don't know if we can afford you.
What's your rate?
But like that's a pro of having like a business where it's not your name and
Yeah.
where it's like more of a timeless kind of, I don't want to say generic, but you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
style versus like the very intimate, personalized kind of what you and my gosh,
Who are you thinking of?
the girl, oh my gosh,
Amanda?
no,
Uh,
frick,
what girl?
this is so embarrassing.
What
The luxury elopement girl.
luxury elopement girl?
Yeah, she was at a
Is it a bride or a videographer?
videographer.
She was at
Oh
what?
my gosh, this is gonna be so embarrassing.
She was at what?
Emma's workshop. She spoke.
Luxury elopement.
Yeah, she spoke after Amanda.
Oh, Blink?
Blink. We always wow. Blank and me. Blink. Same with her. Very personalized, luxury, intimate experience. Like she like incorporates like iPhone footage of the couple, like just very intimate. And that's just like one like the pro is that you can charge a premium for that, which I think you should be. The con is like it really depends on the couple,
Yeah.
and who shoots it.
Yeah. This is kind of going back. It's interesting. Like, I remember Nate's trip and your video was a huge point of inspiration too, because I was like, if every single one of my like couples and weddings was like that,
So it's also a way different video than Jake Weiser Films had ever done.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember that inspired me so much. I was like, if my entire business could be that, if every single trip that I had, what I've realized now is like a huge part of that
How
is
lucky
just
we got.
well, no, it's the relationship that we
Yeah.
all have. Like even our wedding or our trip in Oregon, like it
Yeah.
wouldn't have been what it was. Like I think you can create something similar, but the reason why those are so special
Yeah.
is because of the relationships.
It's just kind of like just a bunch of friends going away for a weekend.
Yeah,
to
and you're
film.
like filming it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for like 2025, I think I've realized, because there's just been a lot of, it's just been a huge learning process, because I went from being super overwhelmed. So I was like, okay, I'll hire like editors, like I'll go the editor route. But then I realized, okay, like you guys are not producing anywhere close to like what I would do. And I know Parker would always say, like 80% is good enough. And so then I was like kind of like convincing myself, I'm like, this is good enough. But I also didn't feel like couples were like super stoked on the final result. And I realized that, yeah, it is because of the editing style. It is because of me. And so to like tie it all together, it's like the full-time job has allowed me to take on less weddings, has allowed me to be more confident in my pricing, and has then allowed me to be like, okay, if I only take on like 5 to 10 weddings that are just like my ideal, I can put in the time to like edit how I want. Whereas before, I was kind of just like, I need to get this done because we're coming up on 6 months. Honestly, I think during that whole thing, I think like my longest was 9 months, 9 or 10 months. And it was scary. And luckily, the bride was like the nicest. She had gone through a divorce. It was Chris's. I don't know if the helicopter one.
She got divorced?
No. So she is.
Oh, gotcha.
But she was like, I was like, hey, I'm like so behind. And she had been following along on my journey. She was like, listen.
Yeah,
like,
she was amazing.
She's like, I can't
So
imagine
awesome.
everything that you're going through. She's like, take as long as you want. So I like bumped her literally to the very end. Just because like I knew she was
cool with
okay
it.
with it.
That's
And
huge.
what honestly so much like their video is one of my favorites. I think for that, like once I got to hers, I was like, hey, I can like put in everything into it. And so yeah, I went the editor route. I've done all of these things. And so it's like coming to the point where I'm at now is I'm like, okay, I want to take limited weddings, charging what I want to charge. So that, and now what I'm trying to figure out is finding the ideal clients again, because I feel like there's been so many ups and downs now where it's like, and I think my Instagram is kind of confusing because it's like, oh, is he doing weddings? Is he not?
It's
like,
just your brand.
Yeah. So it's just like figuring like how to tap into that now.
So it sounds like that's what 2025 is kind of the goal to be.
Yeah.
So for the people listening, we want to give them a chance to find you, to follow your journey. Why don't you tell the people your Instagram, where they can find you, where they can book
Your
you?
Twitch channel.
Twitch. I haven't done that in a while.
Where you're streaming Rocket League.
Rocket League. Yeah.
Daddy Dell.
Isn't it Daddy Dal 35 or something?
Yeah, something. There's a few daddies.
Well, what's your
accounts.
Instagram? What's your account? what's your account for weddings, brand, lifestyle? Where
Yeah,
people
so
can
it's just
follow
my
you and
first
find
and
you?
last name, Dallin Aldous, Dallin.
And it used to be Aldous Films?
Used to be Aldous Films.
And now it's just Dallin Aldous.
Just Dallin Aldous. Yeah.
Okay.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, and everything. I mean, I think my YouTube is still Aldous Films. I don't know how to change that.
No.
Don,
But-
you're a man of good words. What's the word? What's the phrase I'm looking for? An articulate man, I'd say.
He's an articulate man.
What would be, just in closing, some piece of advice you would leave to just to the videographer community in general? And our audience is mix of beginners, advanced, so just because you had a crazy journey. So
I think if I were to like boil it down from my experiences, I learned so much from FTF. Like, it's funny because just all of my knowledge came from that. And so like I used it as scripture. Like the Bible. You nailed it on the head. Like there's a lot of definitives. Yeah. And I had to break a lot of those definitives to get to a point where I was a lot more comfortable in what I was doing. I don't know, like there's a lot of cliches of just like
cliches are true, man.
Yeah, like do what
true.
you want to do, like do what inspires you. But ultimately, I think the thing that I've learned the most that has benefited me is like, and this sounds so dumb, but this is also just a personal thing. I tend to do things with other people in mind. Like, oh, what are they going to think of me? Like family, friends, whoever. Like, how is this going to come across? And getting over that has been a game changer for me.
Wow.
Like getting to a point where it's
hurdle.
like, yeah, like I have a full-time job and I love it and it's fun. I mean, is it like my passion? Is it my absolute dream? No, but it's allowing me a lot more in life than like, and honestly, just the sheer stress that's not in my life.
Can't put a price on that,
You
man.
can't put a price
You
on
really
it. Like
can't.
it has changed my life. And so like getting to that point where you're like, okay, this is like what I want to do. This is what I want to create. And then going out and doing that is huge. And I think also networking is huge, you know, like getting like-minded people in your circle that you can bounce ideas off of or you can draw inspiration from has been huge. And it's been a game changer for me. Like working for free for a full-time filmmaker sucked because I was like, dang, like, and I remember finally getting to the point where I was like, hey, I think I need to get paid. And you were like, okay, like I'll see what I can do.
It opened the doors for you.
Yeah. But I did have to put in that like 8 to 10 months, just like showing up for free, filming BTS and like, but it built connections. It like, because in my mind, it's like, yeah, you were with FTF, you were getting like DMs like crazy. Like people just wanted to be around.
Yeah, if someone's like, pay me $500, might always use this guy who would die to be on set for free.
Exactly. And so I was like, okay, you have to beat that crowd somehow. And so those are the things for me that have made a huge impact and difference. But I think overall, yeah, like getting to a point where I'm self-confident in what I want to do has been huge.
Well, I think that's awesome advice. And I think it's something that we're trying to do too, is just, I mean, as you said, thinking of the end user, like the end person, or we're trying to network and we're always, willing to work for free and just get over get out of our heads sometimes, just put out the right content. 'Cause you never know what's going to open new doors for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard, but they're about to start a piano concert
recital
right
right
above
above
us.
Heck yeah.
So we're going to wrap this up. Dallin, you are one of our best friends.
Love you,
And
man.
we can't
Love
wait
you
to have
guys.
you back on the podcast.
Same.
All four of us.
With Sam.
With
guys.
Sam, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know if I can have
It'll
Sam
be
on here.
It'll be
at
the
the same
final
time.
episode.
That'll be
of
the
Right
last
House.
episode we'll ever do. So we'll
The
see
conclusion,
if
it's like a 20-second long episode.
just
Someone
everyone,
opens their mouth.
everyone has 5 minutes just to talk, just get it all out. But we appreciate you having you on the podcast.
Appreciate you guys
For everyone
having
who's
me.
listening, at Dallin Aldous.
Aldous.